know I've been around and doing it, but now it's my time to shine and start proving it. I'm losing it, I'm moving it. The city is where I'm made, Bostonian flow, I kick it back there. Yeah, I got game, got in a fan way. We the city of the champs, every sport we play. Spit wetter than the harbor, yeah, I'm flowing like the Charles. I be speeding on this beat, call it Turnpike Miles. Yeah, it's Bugle signing on, John to the Hancock, and I'm always key, I'm ready to unlock. I be doing big things, don't even.
Welcome back, everyone, to the newest edition of Once a Week. I'm Billy Jan Ludis, and today, as you can see, we have another great special guest in studio, for that matter, because we've had so many virtual guests for you. But guys, we're bringing so much power, so much impact with this discussion today. I give you the creator of Peak Youth Performance. I've gotten to know him a great amount the last few months, guys. I give you Rick Grimaldi. He's the owner and trainer of Peak Youth Performance out of Hanover, Massachusetts. He's also got a lot of game in the game day men's health. That's something coming up that we'll get to you soon. But guys, he's helping athletes, he's helping student athletes become not just great in the high school realm, but to get to the college level, to surpass everyone else, to separate themselves. And today we want to bring you that discussion. We want to dive into key points. So if you're a parent listening, you can take that to your son, daughter, athlete to make sure they can excel. Or maybe you're an athlete listening right now, wondering, how can I get better? How can I separate myself? Today's discussion brings that to you, but Rick, I thank you for being here. And
thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
But tell us right now, so Peak Youth Performance, that might be new to people listening right now. What is that? What's the drive behind it? How did it start?
Yeah, so I'll try to match that intensity. I love it. So we started, really our mission was to have an outlet for student athletes to train outside of their kind of, bubble within their sports, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the student athlete, as it's kind of defined now, has evolved much more than it was even 2, 3, 5 years ago with club sports and kind of all season. There really isn't a off season anymore in most sports. So the demands are high. The information is out there as far as how to train, how to eat, but how do you decipher all that information? Again, like the athlete has evolved, and I think the parents are starting to evolve with that. But there's just so much information and so much, coaching that we decided to sort of be that guide and that voice to help from a expert level, strength, conditioning, speed, nutrition, all the things that are typically sort of there within your sport, but the coaches are there to coach the skills within the sport, not so much trained in training the athlete outside of their specific sport. So we started this in 2017. We've had over 800 athletes that have come through the program.
That's awesome.
We're really grateful for that. And you name the sport, and basically the age range is like 8 to 9, somewhere in there, to sort of start in our intro program, all the way up, like you said, through the college level.
I love that.
And we've had, name the sport, we've had just about every athlete come through the programs.
See, that's awesome to me, because when you talk about student athletes, youth athletes, if they're starting at 8 to 9, for certain people listening right now, that might sound young to you, but especially in America, this country, I remember growing up and being soccer, basketball, eventually being on the shot put team for the track and field. And seeing the kids that started so much younger than me excelled so much more. So for them to get in with you guys at ages 8 to 9 sets them apart for one. But something you and I discussed prior to even recording is, in this day and age, as much as in our country sports are a very heavy thing, it's a very great thing, it helps kids really align themselves. But now that there's influencers everywhere, there's social media everywhere. They have their parents, they have their coaches, they have their teachers, they have their friends. They have all these different components. But social media is becoming so strong. Hence why we wanted to create this topic today, to give them content that they can really absorb. When you have an athlete that comes in and they are the younger ages, is social media a distraction, or do they tend to gravitate more towards social media to maybe grasp the information that you are already providing, but now it gets through? How do you see their minds work from a young level to really step into the athlete realm?
Yeah, those are good points. I think we make the assumption that they are getting some information through social media, even at that young age. So we're not trying to battle that. We're trying to embrace it. and try to decipher what is best for this specific athlete. Because, I mentioned we've trained over 800 athletes, probably upwards of 900 now. Each one of those athletes is at a different path in their journey, right? Yeah. And so the connection we have, and that takes time, that takes trust, and we meet all of our athletes in person. So we try to build that connection. Our coaches try to build that connection instantly, and that's really what's going to separate us, aside from the programming of the different programs that we offer. It's really the connection. And at 8, 9 years old, if they don't feel like, if we don't disarm that sort of feeling of, hey, am I too young for this, or will this disrupt other things I'm doing in my life, like if I lift a weight, is it going to make me slower? Just all the myths of strength training when you're younger and stuff like that. We need to disarm that. We need to embrace that they are getting information coming in from lots of different sources. We just try to help them navigate that and sort of build that trust early on.
See, I like that. And one of the questions that I wanted to start with you prior to that one popping to mind was the student-athlete concept. But with everything you're saying right now, it really plays into the student mind and the athlete mind.
Yep.
Because the athlete mind, to me, is driven. It's trying to achieve. It's competitive. It wants to put all the pieces together to win on the field, on the court, in the rink, whatever it is, on the mat.
Yep.
The student piece of it is, it's a student first.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
In a sense where social media plays a massive role, the in-person plays such a massive role, I feel, because that's where they're really absorbing it, learning from it, growing in it. How do you guys see the student-athlete role in the gym?
Yeah, I mean, you hit on it. We when we talk about athletes, we always preface that by saying student-athlete, because everyone we're seeing is a student first. Athletics, may be a big part of their lives, but we feel like the connection between the programs that we offer are so strong with how they perform. We talk a lot about sports performance, but it definitely can and should carry over to how they perform as a student.
Right.
And that really at those ages, like, there's jobs, there's sports as they get older gets very competitive. But essentially their number one responsibility and priority should be academics.
Right. Yeah. So when I was going through high school and college, for that matter, it's funny looking back. The students that always had high honors, honor roll, whatever it is, tended to be the best athletes the school had.
Yeah.
When you're training these students and you're training these athletes and you're training the youth to grow, do you see that same concept where they can take the competitiveness from the field and transfer it over? Is that becoming a new skill set, or is that kind of ingrained in the youth at a young age, do you feel?
I think it's learned. I think some may catch on to that a little bit earlier. Some great athletes have struggled academically. So it's just trying to find that balance and reprioritization, and that's really where, like, a support system, parents, coaches, teammates, schoolmates play such a big role in that, right? And we always talk about, like, you become the average of the 5 people you're with the most, and you have to recognize, like, maybe 2 out of the 3 aren't really supporting your goals, right? Or do you have goals? You might just be influenced by who you're around and not entirely sure, like, your potential. And that's we talk a lot about, like, pulling the potential out, because every single athlete has a high ceiling of potential. It's just they may not know it because of the people they're around. So the families, the coaches, all play a really big role in kind of the getting to that next level of, I won't say elite, but just meeting your potential where it's at, and then trying to figure out, okay, how do I get 1% better, every day, every week? And sometimes you have to cut out those habits, or in some cases, the people that don't support those habits.
Exactly. And I'm glad you brought that up, because that was a key point I wanted us to make for you listening right now, whether you are an athlete, whether you are a parent. When it comes to the growth of your student athlete, for that matter, whether that's you or that's your son or daughter right now, that phrase that Rick just said, you become the people you surround yourself with. That is, you will find that in so many different books, and so many psychology books, and so many motivation books, and so many biography books by athletes, whatever it is, because it's the truest fact of life. And so if all of the habits that you have in your life are dictated by the environment you grew up in, are dictated by the people you surround yourself with, are they getting you to your goal? Are they pushing you further away from that goal? Whatever it is. But if it's an athlete we're talking about, and maybe your goal is to make it to the NFL or to make it to the NBA or the MLB, whatever it is, or just to go to a D1 school for that matter, you have to really take a step back and see what is your priority, what level of importance is it on you to actually achieve that goal, and then you got to take a look back. You got to kind of take the veil back a little bit and see, all right, who's around me? Are my parents a support? I hope so. Are my friends a support? Well, Jimmy over there is always with me. He's ready to practice every single day. But Timmy over there, he just wants to hang out and play video games with me constantly, which if you're a student athlete right now, I get it. It's the great time. It's fun. It's a blast. But you have bigger goals in store than sitting on the couch playing a video game. You got to set time aside for that so you enjoy it, so you don't push your life to the side. Enjoy it, but value yourself too. So Rick, with you saying that, and let's expand on it a little bit more. If you become the people you're around, who are those people in your eyes after seeing almost 900 athletes come through your gym? Who are the people that should be in place? And if 2 out of those 5, as you've said, should be changed, who are those? Usually friends? Are they parents? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, and they're a combination of a bunch of different people. But as you know, as you get older, you spend less time with your parents, unfortunately, and I'm a parent, so I understand that. But I think when we talk in the realm of athletics, we talk about coaches, instructors, athletic directors. These people have such a big influence on, really what the actions that our athletes take, even more so than our parents. Like our parents, in most cases are trying to say and do the right things. Most athletes will sort of mimic what parents are doing, less about listening on what they're saying. They're hearing the words, but I think they hear the words. The words are more impactful from the coaches, the instructors in the context of athletics, teachers in the context of being a student, and then absolutely friends and and teammates. And the great thing about sports is those teammates become, in a lot of ways, as you grow older, like your high school friends, your college friends, and sometimes lifelong friends. I know a lot of my athletic teams that I played on with teammates. They're still my friends.
Yeah, for sure.
So it all plays a big role, and if they're training the right way, you will naturally progress that way as well. If they're eating and sleeping and not playing as many video games, not saying that is the worst thing in the world, but everything matters here, right? So the complete student athlete isn't just come to peak youth performance, train 2-3 hours a week, and then you kind of switch everything else off. Right. It's really, kind of building those habits across every part of your life.
For sure.
And in a small way, what we're doing is carrying over to all these other aspects. And that's really like our goal wasn't to get every athlete to a college athletics and play beyond that. That's great. 6% of athletes do that. Okay, so what we want to try to get to is they're building these lifelong habits that literally carry over to everything. And for me, that's one of the reasons why we're here, because it had such a big impact on me growing up.
For sure. I love that. And now to give people a window in, you have boys, you have wrestlers, and then they play some other sports.
Other sports
as well.
too, yep.
To expand on everything you just said for the people you surround yourself with, and you being a parent yourself and a parent playing such a massive role, is there something you could tell parents listening right now to how they can be even further a support? Because me growing up, my parents were always there. My dad was a coach himself for soccer and everything, and he had some massive success in that. But growing up in an athletic standpoint, usually you get the hard-nosed parents who are head nose to the ground, like let's get it going.
Yeah.
And there isn't much sympathy in that, which is totally fine depending on how the student athlete takes it.
Yeah.
But then you have parents that are very soft with it, like, oh, he'll make his own decisions. What's the middle ground? Like, what should a parent be doing from your standpoint? We've seen almost 900 athletes come through.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I still, I evolve as a parent, like most of us are. I think everyone is wired a little different, right? And I think the hard-nosed, you have to do this, sort of like preaching, and not listening, because we don't know what kids are going through. They have other demands. We're not with them in school. So I think a little more listening and a little less, sort of preaching on what you should be doing. I think it's a give and take type of relationship.
For sure.
Especially with athletics. It's hard to, again, a parent is coming from, in most cases, a place where they care.
Yeah.
But I think I think if they can help guide and support that support system around them, meaning putting them around coaches that connect well,
For sure.
putting them around coaches that aren't always negative. There's, I think our job as a parent isn't to always tell them what to do. It's let people that are a bit more like, I say qualified, but just there are, if I could have a coach for every aspect of my life, or if I could have a coach for every aspect of my athletes' lives, including my own boys, a nutrition coach, a strength and conditioning coach, a mental performance coach, that would be ideal.
Yeah.
It's not realistic, so we have to do our best to surround them around the best support system. And I keep going back to that, but I think for me it's like we've got a lot of very talented athletes, but to get kind of that next level up, the support system's everything.
Yeah.
So
agree with that.
I think we're all evolving as parents, as people. We're all dealing with lots of information coming in.
For sure.
I think that it's everything in the kind of the saying, everything in moderation.
Yeah.
I think is going to well round you. You have to put limits on the things that you think as a parent are not productive.
Yeah. Right.
If they want to play video games, that's great, but here are the things you are responsible for as a 15-year-old, which, by the way, that list is very small compared to when you get older. They don't want to hear that, right? But it's just preparing them for every next step in their lives. And that's why I love athletics, because it's just it's a good catalyst to so many other things. I mean, working in the corporate world for a bunch of years, some of the best, successful performers in the field that I was in were former athletes.
Yeah.
Right. They learned how to work as a team. Some learned how to lead. Some learned how to accept their role and sort of do the best in their role. And above all of that, they learned how to fail and how they can kind of shift as they fail and overcome those failures.
That's such a great point. And they learned how to fail. And I think, whether it's in a business standpoint, athletic standpoint, a family standpoint, I think if we look on the field or the court or the rink for that matter, or the mat, as we've said, failure to a student athlete could very well be the end of the world in their own mind.
Yeah.
To get them to grasp that you need to fail so you learn to be better is such a massive point that a coach could teach them. So a parent, connecting to that question, being able to support them and be there for them, but to understand, like, hey, they're growing just as much. They need to grasp it.
Yeah.
I want to shift into the mindset perspective, but I have one question with the parenting. Do you ever get parents of athletes that are trying to live out their athletic dreams through those athletes, and they're really hard on them for that matter?
Yes,
Yeah,
all the
I believe
time.
it, right? I believe it.
Yeah, this could be another 2 hours, but and I've seen it work. Again, everyone's wired a little different, but I don't know this percentage. It's pretty high, but as athletes get to the 14, 15, 16-year-old range, let's just throw a number out there, half leave that sport or those sports that they're in. And that's kind of sad, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that is either they're burnt out or just too much pressure, too much sort of pushing a certain way. And that does come from parents sometimes, unfortunately. I mean, I tell my boys, like every sport that I left or quit or for whatever reason stopped playing, to this day, regret.
Yeah.
It's some of the best memories and best relationships and experiences that I had growing up.
That's awesome.
And do it as long as you can.
Sure.
And that's where I think, like, at that critical point of 14, 15 years old, like, that support system, I will keep going back to it. That guidance could make or break it. That one bad coach at 14 years old could be the end of it.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that makes
and then we never see their potential.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
I want to start to kind of transition things out. I don't keep you too long, but the mindset piece to me from where I come from is so significant in every area of life. With these student athletes coming in and then you being the coach, you being the trainer, yes, you've got trainers under you that help just as much, but how do you specifically, in my own terminology, reach into that student athlete's mind and then pull out the athlete they want to become? And in that, it's what mindset do you help them craft? What mindset do you help them live by, not just on the field, but as the student as well?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of us out there.
Yeah.
More and more, right? Meaning, like, there are more facilities, there are more coaches, and a lot of them are really good.
Yep.
So for us to differentiate, it's really that connection, and we bring on coaches yearly. Obviously, their experience, certifications, and their education is really important, but it's really how they connect. Because if they can't, and I've had it both ways. I've had great coaches that could program well, and athletes take to that and perform well in the field, but there's no real connection. So I think for us to really pull out the potential, you have to get to know the athletes. Yeah. And sometimes that's hard to do when there's a group or just when we're busy, right? Yeah. But I always stress to take the time to, understand sort of how the athlete communicates. And let's face it, I think the communication struggles are there.
Yeah.
Like we're seeing it more and more where just the devices become the interface to the world. Yeah. So we try to, we definitely do not allow phones like in the gym area.
Nice.
But it's really just building that connection. And I think the result we've seen from that is a lot of like either referral business or just reviews and all the feedback we try to get. Repeat athletes and families and siblings of athletes and friends. That is to us like the sort of best measure of how we're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
The sports performance and staying injury free or preventing injury and staying safe and learning. Those are all really important benefits.
Yeah.
But it's how we connected and how they can describe their experience. If you brought 5 athletes in here, can you describe, peak youth performance and your experience there? They're not talking about, how much they deadlifted.
Yeah.
Right.
I gotcha.
Hopefully they're talking about how much they learned.
Nice.
And the experience that they had with the connections of like the coaches, but also the other athletes.
See, I love that. Let me ask you this before we kind of move into our final question of where people can find you, where they can find Peak.
Yep.
But you just mentioned all these athletes and whatnot. Have you had athletes, because you've had almost 900 now, you started in 2017, we're coming up on a 10-year, a decade anniversary.
Yep.
Have you had athletes come back after the collegiate side of it and just like, hey, what's going on, Rick? Or how's Peak doing? And just kind of give their input to where they came from after you guys. Like, where did they take everything at? Have you had them return to you?
Yeah, I mean, that, I'll be honest, Billy, that is one of the best feelings you can get as an athlete.
I love it.
When they come back as a college athlete, so we're kind of getting towards I guess we're in the middle of some schools that are still breaking, but some are coming to the end. I've had a handful of athletes come in and do, kind of carry their college strength and conditioning program, recovery program through, because they obviously don't want to break for a month.
Yeah, for sure.
Where they utilize our services, some on their own, some, like this morning we had a college athlete come in and she's doing 3 days a week up until she goes back to school.
Nice.
Her feedback was phenomenal, and that's like the best compliment when she
yeah.
can come back and say, man, I was the only one in the weight room that did X.
Yeah.
The coaches were like, what have you been doing? Like, just, the curiosity around like her teammates. And now it's carrying over to everyone on her team. It's just going to get it. And I had like that small part of that, right?
Yeah.
But for them to come back, and then I've got 2 more that just asked this week about internships this summer. So coming back as a coach and sort of giving back as a coach. So those are the cool things. Now, if we can start everyone at 8 or 9 years old and they go through that progression, that's like perfect world.
Yeah.
We've had a lot come through over the years, but we do get them at different times. But yeah, I mean, if they are full-on adults when they're coming back saying, I loved it here, I want to coach here. Some kind of it shifted their path as far as what they study in school. So they're getting into health sciences, they're getting into exercise science, kinesiology, all those types of things.
I
So
love it.
yeah,
That's awesome. It's a perfect transition to tell them where can they find Peak Youth Performance.
Yep. So we're on basically the major social media platforms at Peak Youth Performance, and then the website is peakyouthperformance.com. We're on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. TikTok's one of those things where we're close, but you can definitely find us out there. Search us up in Google, ChatGPT. We're out there towards the top. We are offering right now. We typically offer some kind of intro. Free intro type of session where we're doing a movement evaluation, some kind of assessment. We have a free week of training, so you can come in and join your age-appropriate training for a week and kind of try it out. We're all about getting you sort of onboarded the right way. We're not throwing you in the fire early on.
Awesome.
So that's all out there. You can call us, text us. We're pretty available. So
that's awesome. I love it. Yeah, you're taking over the Hanover community.
Well, this might be the first time you mentioned the word community, and that really is, I think, a good sort of ending point. Is we are so focused on this community. We have great community partners on the nutrition side, on the physical therapy side. So we're trying to, obviously with game day. You mentioned earlier, but we are so focused on, we can say we want to be the leader in the community. We just want to be the difference maker in the community. And if we are leading the way, that's great. But I am from this area, so like I am so invested in, we've had, I think, 22 towns outside of Hanover come in and do our programs. So we are always trying to do better in the community and look for sort of that alliance of the best partners to come in and join our kind of partnership.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's so
so
awesome.
Obviously, with Billy, we want to bring Billy into the mix as well, because let's face it, like our coaches, including myself, we are not trained nor have the experience to do what you do with our athletes and the parents of our athletes. We can only go so far with coaching them in other areas outside of strength and conditioning and nutrition. So
I love it. I
wanted to tee it back to you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate that. And that's something as I've told you, I would jump at the opportunity to do and help in any way possible. You mentioned the difference maker, and it's obvious that Peak has become the difference maker for the community and for so many student athletes and parents. Is there a lasting message you want to leave with any athlete right now, any parent right now before we close this whole thing out?
I think, again, the evolution of the athlete has grown so much. So there's a lot of information out there. I think that, if you find someone you connect with that is pushing you and driving you, stick with that person. We tend to get people that come in that did not have a good experience, but we're not trying to push them away from if they're in a good spot and they're getting better and improving and learning and evolving. Stick with those people, but you have to find those people that push. It is impossible to do this on your own. To be a successful student, to be a successful athlete, and putting those two together as a student athlete is impossible to do without the right help. And we're just, again, we want to play a small part in the community to kind of help elevate that a bit. And what we're trying to do is do more of this as far as awareness in the community, because we want to educate and build your trust and then get you in and see if you're the right fit. But if you're doing something you like, stick with it. But if you come in, talk to us, we'll give you sort of a background on the journey of an athlete, and hopefully it's the right fit.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. Guys, I thank you so much for tuning in. Rick, I thank you for the time today. Guys, as he said, all of his links to social media, they're about to roll in the credits of this video in a moment. You can also click on the YouTube description, and you're going to click right to his website. You can follow him just as much with all the handles. Also, if you or anyone you know, or a student athlete for that matter, is in need of someone to step in and help, you can go to PQ Performance. If it's a situation in here, you can go to BillyGLifeCoaching.com. You can set up a free call with me, and I will be right there to help you, to help your student athlete. But guys, I thank you so much for tuning in. Please like this message on YouTube by hitting that thumbs up button. Click the bell as well in the corner so you know exactly when we post on Sundays and throughout the week. And if you have not, or if anyone had popped into your mind, please share this message to them. If you know of a parent with a student athlete that could benefit from this, share it to them. They don't have to watch the entire thing, but maybe there's a key point that stuck out to you. They popped in your mind. As I always say, there's a clear-cut sign that that person needs it just as much. Lend a hand and help them, or if it is a student athlete, maybe they can benefit from this to get their own mindset in place. But comment below, reach out with any questions that you have, and we will be right there for you. But Rick, it's always a blast.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Have a good one, guys.
Thank you.
You know I've been around and doing it, but now it's my time to shine and start proving it. I'm losing it, I'm moving it. The city is where I'm made, Bostonian flow, I kick it a back day. Yeah, I got game, got in a fan way. We the city of the champs, every sport we play. Spit wetter than the harbor, yeah, I'm flowing like the Charles. I be speeding on this beat, call it Turnpike Miles. Yeah, it's Boo signing on, John to the Hancock, and I'm always key, I'm ready to unlock. I be doing big things, don't even have a deal. Yeah, I battle through these bars, yeah, I always bunker hill. I know that any city I go in, that I be flyer than Logan, and I be flying high. I want this ship up in here, all the way to Shanghai. And my name's not Joe, but I'm not your average guy. I be killing it, east side rapping cause I'm writing where I'm from. And I know for hella sure that I'm right with what I done. In a minute I'ma win it, chillin' with all these women. It's a dream I've been chasing and I'm never gonna pace it. This is something really got lost in. Everybody said no and now they all